There's so many ways to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You just gotta trust the right. Don't have to be scary. You just gotta follow the light. You're able to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be.
All right, so bushes are all done on the Chief. That all went, yeah, pretty smoothly. The rear was just actually worked out really well. I just dropped it down, changed the bushes, jacked it back up, and then a ratchet strap to the gearbox crossmember and pulled the diff back and lined up perfect. The rear ones are absolutely cactus. I'll give you a look at them in a sec. But I'll give you a look at the headlights in the Willies while I finally remember. Tool table's in the way. But look at that, guys. Look how much better that looks. So now it's headlight, indicators at the bottom, and then the parkers are in the headlights. So huge shout out to Gemma for them. They're the original ones out of her JK, because she put LED headlights in. So yeah, that all went well. I've started on the next little job, which is a TJ for Greg over in WA. His TJ's here. So that's the old steering box off of there. We chucked a new steering box, a new starter so far. I'm just waiting on a big price list. The starter was still working, but was really sluggish and had a horrid dry bearing noise. When I pulled it out, the bush in the end that the armature sits in, like the Bendix gear that it sits in at the end of the starter, it was all dry and worn out and sort of loose. So the starter would have been had harmonics when it was winding. A lot of starters that are low on a motor go under water and that sort of thing. So a bit to be expected. Bushes, you know, I'd love to show you the old bushes, but I've got no idea what I do with them. But yeah, the old bushes were from the rear of the Leaf were the same. The center pin was just floppy and loose, so they were just flogged out dry, no grease obviously, because there they are there. So yeah, because the shackle pins aren't greasable. Look at that, that's loose as. And then the bushes just come out of the leaves easy, so a bit of grease helps that. So I might have a chat with Michael, see if we can get some greasable pins for it like I've done with mine and anyone else with urethane bushes. But I'll give you a look at the TJ. Well, there's nothing to show you on the TJ. Starter's done, power steering box is done, and then we are doing axle unis, wheel bearings, link rods, brakes. There's heaps to do on it before he takes it back to WA, so we'll get into all that. But I just wanted to show you, so I'm in the middle of doing the transmission service on the Chief, and just wanted to show you a big no-no. Michael's going to crucify me for this, I know. Ooh. But when you buy a transmission service kit, it always comes with a filter and a gasket. If it doesn't come with a gasket, specify that you want one. Make sure the kit comes with it. I know some things you have to put goo on. You just don't have a choice. I don't like to put goop on, and I'll show you the reason why. If you do it, you got to be really conscious of this issue. But I'll take you out to the Chief. This is the reason I've just had a shower. But I'll take you there and give you a look. All right, so the Chief is outside. I'm not getting to work on the concrete for this reason. I just got a bit of carpet down. Now, whatever's happened in the past, or the reason for it is whatever's happened. But this transmission pan has been gooped on. It's out here still, what am I doing? But it has been gooed on. The problem with that being, if you put too big a bead of goo, obviously you get all this ooze out on the inside and the outside. So whatever you see on the outside, there's going to be the same, sometimes like that, even more on the inside. Now if that breaks off, that's going through your oil, possibly through your filter. It could get through your filter, and then it's just floating around in this oil, where all underneath you've got valves and everything moving in this oil. So that silicon can work just horribly against you. Just something to remember. If you put goop on, make sure you put just enough. You don't want it oozing out the sides, because if you can see it, then the moving parts inside are going to see it, and you don't want that. So I'm going to put all this back together. I'm not going to show you none of this. We literally just covered it. So put this back together, and then I think there's only one more job on the Chief, and that's just putting a trailer plug on. Not going to go in near that. It's got a tow bar, but no trailer plug. So we're going to throw that on, and this thing's finished. It's been one hell of a transformation. It's done really well. But this is the other Wrangler here. So this is the one Isabel and Am were driving when we were clearing the tracks for when we were out marking tracks and that sort of stuff for Camp Coffs. So this is Greg's. He's gonna drive it all the way back to WA. So we've got to make sure it's in good driving order. Another little thing I had to do that a lot of people forget: if you go to a 31-inch, like 31 10.5 tyre, which has had done, it's got a 2-inch lift and 31 10.5s, basically exactly what we've done to ours, but it's still on standard rims. So when you go to a 10.5 tyre on a 31 on a standard rim, there's too much positive offset in, and when you get near full lock, your tyres start clunk 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 on your control arms. So it's that's the reason we just straight up went to aftermarket wheels and bring them out. That way that doesn't happen. Because unfortunately, to fix that, you got to adjust your steering stops, and then you're losing turning circle, but saving tires because they're not chewing up on the control arm. So we did that as well. But I tell you what, it starts like a bloody different car. It's completely just new car. So I'm gonna get finished there. Actually, that's what I was saying. The reason I had to shout to get the transmission pan off this. Obviously, if it's got a gasket, you loosen your bolts. For some reason, this pan hasn't got a drain bung. A lot of aftermarket pans do, but this one doesn't. So usually I'll undo all the front pan bolts and then just slowly work the back ones out, and it'll come down real slow, and you can drain your oil into a pan. Obviously, because it was gooed, that can't happen. So I did the same, undid all the pan bolts, loosened the back ones just a smidge. But I had to get under there with a scraper and tap around to try and get the goop off. And once it released, it just dropped, and I got fully covered. Shirt in the bin, like I was dripping with ATF. That's another downside to using goop. Yeah, like goop's a good thing, but you only use it where it needs to be. But there would have been a reason, you know, it wouldn't have been done intentionally. So I'll put this thing back together. All right, so TJ is on hold. We're waiting on parts. All the parts have been ordered for it. We've got all that from, all right, here we go, Jeep Spares Recyclers. He's on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. He's just south side of Brisbane. He's got everything you sort of want TJ wise. We've got the last few things from him. It's been really good. But anyway, while that's sitting there in hiatus, we are moving on to our white Jeep. Basically, there's a bit we want to get done before we hit the road again. It's just cosmetic stuff really, and a bit of upkeep. But I think just before Camp Coffs last year, we dodged up our nose cone because it's full of rust. We dodged it up enough to get by for another year or two. But as you can see down in this corner here, this is all rusted out all around that corner light. Like that's just gone all through there. And then it's only a matter of time before this side starts as well. So we've got that to fix. Now that it's all carbied, we're not running the snorkel. The snorkel just chokes it too much. So we've got to replace this inner guard, because that's the inner guard that was there from the airbox when it had the snorkel on it. And obviously we have a great big hole here from the snorkel. So at Camp Coffs, we picked up a set of inner guards and a new nose cone. We picked all that up from Eric I think he was down from Brisbane. But there's a set of inner guards at the back there. I just got to modify the driver's one. I'll give you a look why. And the passenger one. The only reason I'm doing the driver's one, like I said, I'll give you a look. But they're genuine Gladiator inner guards, so they haven't got the big dent for the heater box and all that sort of stuff that this one has. And this nose cone, it had rust repairs on the bottom done before, but they were horrible. They were just sort of, it's like it had been rusted out and then someone had just tacked a bit of plate over it and bogged it. So that's all been blasted, and we've got Scott, a bloke here in Coffs Harbour, to do the rust repair on it. So basically, once I've got our nose cone off then I'll get the same thing done. I just got to go talk to Michael. I'll be back. All right, so I'm back. Just had a quick chat with Michael, but that's all done. So yeah, we've got to fix the guard, change the inner guard, change the nose cone. While the nose cone's off, I've got to put a power steering cooler in here. It used to have a power steering cooler in the front, but now that it's got the winch, I took it out and I stupidly left it out. And at camp costs, because this is still running the LS power steering pump with a bit of weight on it with the 35s, it just seems to cook them. Like power steering pumps on the LSs are useless. We cooked one at Fraser a couple of years ago, and I said then we put the cooler on straight away and never had an issue. And then stupidly I've taken it off and we've just cooked another one. So I'll change that, put the cooler on, and then hopefully that it won't have any issues. But yeah, so I was going to get the nose cone and inner guards powder coated, but don't know what's happening there yet, because I'm gonna have to paint the guard once it's fixed. So I might end up just painting both guards, nose cone and inner guard, just get some paint and paint a whole lot. But we'll start ripping this thing apart. So basically I just got a couple more bolts across the top and on the inside there, and that's the nose cone off. And I'm sort of starting to think, because I've got to get this one fixed, I've got to drop this one off and get it repaired as well. But as you can see, I've already, all these have been riv nutted to suit, because from factory, I'll give you a look at the other one, from factory they're just self-tappers. And obviously over the last 50, 60 years, whatever it is, all the self-tappers just chew out. So you can see they're just like a self-tapper through there. But I noticed this one's got a cutout here. Someone's cut out and plated that in for a winch. Because of the design of our bar, we don't need that. So I'm gonna get this one fixed, and then we'll pick which one we're gonna actually use and then paint that one up. But it's morning tea time. Well, morning tea time for us. So we're gonna head over to Graham's, sit over there, have a cup of tea, maybe have some lunch, give him a hand with a few things, and then come back and tackle it again, if it's not raining. Right, so I had to move around into the shed because it's pissing down rain all day. All day?
All day.
All day. Because, you know, it's Coffs Harbour and it's what it does. But yeah, so just going to continue on in here. Basically, I'm just going to rip the guards off and the inner guards out, and then I can get the the outer guard dropped off, get that hole fixed. And then we've got some replies from powder coaters, and in that reply it basically told us that we're going to paint it all. I don't know what the go is, but when we were in Townsville we got heaps of stuff powder coated in the van, and it was a really good price. It was so much cheaper to powder coat it than paint it. When we were in Gladstone we got all this radiator support and everything sandblasted and powder coated for $260 I think it was, and that was literally, I dropped it off, they blasted it, they powder coated everything, both sides. We just got the quote here. Both powder coaters here don't sandblast, which is weird. Everywhere I've always gone they do, but they don't. One of the quotes has come back at $565 for the nose cone.
Plus
and
GST.
Plus GST. That's just for powder coating. They don't sandblast. It's just for the powder coat. So I'd estimate probably another $100–150 for powder coat for sandblasting. So basically, bugger that. I'm going to borrow a spray gun off Graham. I haven't spoken to Michael yet, but Michael, I'm just asking you now, can I borrow your compressor? I've already got hose and all that sort of stuff. We were carrying a spray gun from when we painted the car and all that sort of thing, but we got rid of it. So borrow all that, go get some paint, some primer, and just shoot it all and paint it ourselves. I was hoping to line up a new bonnet, but I don't think that's going to happen because it's got little holes in it from when, in the past. But yeah, we'll see how we go. We'll start pulling this thing apart. Alright, so front end's off, ready to get all the stuff prepared. I forgot to show the reason I've got to change this inner guard. Well, not that I have to, but... So, anyone that's been following us for a while, before Camp Cost last year, when we had, what did we have, like a week and a half. We were on the sunny coast, long story short. We're on the Sunshine Coast, the auto and the Jeep Blue. And then we decided we weren't going to rebuild it, we'll do a manual conversion. So we're like 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks out of Camp Coffs. So we decided to leave the car at the sunny coast, jump on a train. We went to Townsville, got all my manual pedal box, all that sort of stuff. We picked up a patrol manual box, got the Marks adapter kit to put to our auto. We got all the gearbox in, got it all driving, all that sort of thing within that week and a half, 2 weeks. And then when we stuck all the front together, that's why we did the dodgy rust repair, because we were literally out of time. We did that, and then the problem with this was, because these never had power assisted brakes, they were just the brake master cylinder bolted to the firewall. With the brake, with the Hydro Boost on it, it hangs out so much further. So to get the inner guard on, literally, this was like 2 days out of us leaving, I just took a hammer to this and caved all that in so it bent around the Hydro Boost. Now that I have the time, I can pull the return line out of the Hydro Boost, find some fittings and make up a little U-turn, a little right-hand adapter. I'll give you a look in a sec. And then fit the new inner guard a lot better without being so ugly and dodgy. But it was basically, like I said, we were completely out of time to race down to Camp Coffs. But I'll give you a look at why. So if you look just in here, where am I? Alright, so this return line hangs straight out the bottom of the Hydro Boost here, and the inner guard normally sits like right there. So I basically caved the guard in so this return line could slew around nicely without kinking. But now I'll pull all that fitting out and get a 9-degree fitting to fit in there, and I've got the time to sort of stuff around to get it fitting real nice. So I've got to do that, and then the inner guard can be painted. That inner guard, so the passenger inner guard, it can literally go straight on. I might get him to weld up all the holes in it so it's just a shaved guard, but there's nothing that mounts to it, so it can just go painted and put on. And the nose cone, same thing, it can just be painted and put on. So the only work I've got to do is modify this inner guard to fit that. And then I'm hoping we can pick up a welder, and I want to change the front bar. It may not happen, it may happen, I don't know. I want to basically cut all these pipes off here and then get some plate and plate in the end so it looks more like just a nice clean bar rather than tube. Because it was the bar off our Blue Jeep, everything was tubed on, so it fitted, whereas nothing's really tube on this. So, but that's all right. Front end's off, ready to go. Go drop the guards off, I think next week, and then yeah, I might see if I need to do anything on the motor while we're at it, because as you can see, getting at the motor is quite a dream. I do want to put some sort of cable on the throttle so I can idle it up. As everyone knows, like a diesel, when you get in the scrub, you can idle it up. Makes it a lot nicer to drive in low range when you're playing in the rocks and all that sort of thing. So I've decided I'm going to go with a little 12-volt actuator, and it'll either pull on the throttle inside like a cruise control would, or I'll mount it on the throttle return and it can push on the throttle a smidge, and I can just bump that and turn it up and turn it down to turn the idle up and down. But we'll see how all that goes. Right, so it has been like a week since that last bit, but it's finally stopped raining. We had basically cloud and rain for like a week, so I couldn't really do anything. But in that time, everything is rocked up for this TJ. So yesterday I got in and done the rear brakes and link rods, rear wheel cylinders, done a brake line flush on the rear. So that's all good to go. I've just turned around and now we're going to get stuck in the front. So on the front we're doing wheel bearings, front unis, sway bar links, and then we're putting light bar brackets on the A-pillars and putting a 50-inch light bar on it. And then we're just doing the service. And then she should be right to drive back to WA. Hopefully. But we got our front bar done, so Leon got in and cut all the hoops off that, so huge shout out to you, man. Thanks heaps for that. So this is the front bar we brought off Jai, so it's a winch bar obviously, and it did have all the hoops, the classic TJM ARB bar, Aussie bar loop hoops on it. So we cut them off and ground it all back nice. I painted that up yesterday on our first day of sunshine, whacked that on, so I love it. No more hoops on it, looks mint. And we got in and got, now I didn't worry about getting our original nose cone repaired. I just want to get that thing back together. So it'll definitely get fixed, it just may not be now, and then it'll just go into our stockpile. But we literally just went and picked up, so get this guys, we dropped off, this is how good this Scott is. We dropped off the nose cone to get repaired, that one I showed you last time. And we dropped off on like a Monday. Wednesday, he's like, yeah, ready to go. I dropped the guards off to him on Monday, and it was raining, so he said I probably won't get to him until Tuesday, which was when the sun came back out. And he messaged yesterday afternoon to say, yep, they'll be all good to go today. So we just picked the guards up. Look at this. So we picked them up. So these holes are blocked up now. That's where the old bonnet latches were, and then that one is where the snorkel was. Look at that. So now we've got to clean it. Obviously the bonnet holes, the latch holes all glassed up. So basically I've got to go to town, get a sander because I don't own one, get a sander, sit down and clean them up, sand up these inner guards. I did send off a quote to multiple sandblasters, but classic in this day and age, no one got back to us. So I'll spend the money on a sander instead and sit down and sand up the inner guards, the nose cone and the guards. Go get some paint, borrow a spray gun, borrow a compressor, shoot them. And then Tiny is in the process of printing some new stickers for the guards to replace the original where the badges are, because I've been through it all in the past where I don't want to put the original badges on because on our blue one they did get stolen and I don't want that to happen again. All the original badges are in the glove box of it, but I'm not putting them on. So Tiny sat down and made stickers to match all the original badges, so they'll all go on in the right spots. And he made us a surprise sticker for the TJ. So I can't wait for that. Apparently that's coming this week. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's what's happening. But all of that will get covered in next video. I know you're probably sick of all this car stuff, but that's literally all I can do while we're here. It keeps me busy. But yeah, so don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. Tune in next fortnight if you want to see all the rest of the white Jeep go back together. And yeah, follow us along.